When you go to an open house or new model home, you may be giving up your leverage. At the point of contact, a legal dance begins. As an agent, I'm going to show you how to protect yourself if you're a home buyer. There's two important points that you need to know. Hi, I'm John Campbell. I'm a real estate agent with Real Estate Masters in the Twin Cities, and I work in the Eastern Metro. This is part one in a series on how to buy a home in 2025. So let's get started. Don't speak to an agent at an open house or model home. Except for one thing. That is, if you are, and you should be, tell them that you're represented. Realtor ethics do not allow an agent to interfere with another agent's client-broker relationship. This should stop all conversation, and if it doesn't, tell the agent to speak to your agent. If you are represented, don't stop into a new model home or an open house until you've discussed it with your agent so they can make arrangements. The reason for this is so you don't lose your leverage, which is a chance to negotiate builder incentives, mortgage rate buy-downs, and custom upgrades. Builders have exclusion policies, which means if you visit for the first time without an agent, they will not pay a commission later, which could have saved you a lot of money. Builders build commissions into the price of every new home. So if they don't have to pay it, it's just more profit. So don't think it's more expensive for you to have buyer's representation when buying a new home. There is so much information that we agents can see behind the scenes that we can't share publicly, but we can share all of it with you one-on-one in a client-agent relationship. But that's for another time. When you step over a threshold, a legal dance begins because of the broker-client, customer-agent relationships. When a when a seller lists a home for sale, they have a client-broker relationship. When you approach that agent, you have a customer-agent relationship, and you're wondering what's the difference. When you're a client, you're owed fiduciary duties. When you're a customer, you're owed no fiduciary duties except confidentiality. What does that mean? That means that anything you say, including price, terms, or motivation, will be passed along to the seller. And at negotiation times, that's going to hurt you. This is the reason an agent will greet you at the door and say, "Hi, my name is John and I represent the seller." And you think that, well, yeah, you're standing there, so of course you represent the seller. But what in reality, what they're actually doing is they're disclosing to you that they owe fiduciary owe fiduciary duties to the seller. So that's why you should not speak to an agent. So let's go over some of those fiduciary duties. Okay, so let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so there are 6 fiduciary duties, and the first one is called loyalty. And what that means is what we just went over. That means the agent will work in the best interest of their client. And so that's why if you say anything at an open house that will help a seller in negotiations, they're going to report that to their seller. And that's where that comes from. The next one is obedience. And what that means is you as a buyer or you as a seller decide the price that you want to pay or sell your house for. An agent will make a recommendation based on what all the neighboring houses around you have been selling for, but it's ultimately up to the buyer or the seller to decide on their own price. Disclosure, that is a duty that's actually owed to everybody. You have to treat everybody fairly. And what that means is, for instance, I'm going to make up a scenario. Let's say an agent went to a listing appointment and the day before it had rained heavily and there was water in the basement. The house finally is prepared for sale, and 3 weeks later, of course, the basement's dried out and the house goes on the market. Well, when there's a buyer that comes along, that agent is required to disclose that they saw water in the basement. Even though it's their own client, they have to disclose that. The next one is confidentiality. This is the only fiduciary duty that survives. The other, out of the 6, the other 5 disappear after the sale closes and they go away. But confidentiality never goes away. And so what that means is if a agent worked with a client in the past and were to have another transaction maybe on the other side of that client, they cannot disclose any information to their new client about their old client. Reasonable care means taking care of everything that's required to get the transaction to close. And accounting is accounting for the earnest money. Brokers are required to have a separate trust account. They cannot commingle your earnest money with their personal finances or business finances. It has to be a separate account. And so that's the accounting function. The summation of all these fiduciary duties is what's called representation. And as a buyer, you need it. Without an advocate, you're basically going to the seller and they're asking a price and you're going, okay. When going to a new model home without representation, it's like being in a lawsuit with another party and going to that party's lawyer and asking if and how much you should pay their client. Same is true if you go to an open house or call an agent on a sign hanging out in front of a house. Same thing if you're not represented. Let's take a look at a chart here. Okay. Markets are moving creatures, meaning they're going up, down, sideways, and you need to know what that trend is. So when you're writing an offer or accepting an offer, you know what's happening with the market. Now, when you look at this chart, it looks like for the last 20 years, since 2011, the market has done nothing but go up. But in reality, because this is a 12-month rolling chart, this is how it appears. But when you look at a monthly chart, you can see the price gyrations. This is the Twin Cities median sales price over the last 3 years, and you can see the price starts low and goes up. It goes back down and it goes up and back down and up. And what this is winter, summer, winter, summer, winter, summer. And so prices go up and down, and you need to know that when you're buying or selling real estate. Okay, now let's look at price per square foot. Price per square foot is a way to compare homes in the same area. And this is a recent example. There's actually 2 ways to look at it, from a value and a comparison standpoint. And this is a recent example from Lake Elmo, Minnesota. And these are prices per square foot. They ranged from $177 to $322. And if you take a look at this, the home that was $177 per square foot was on 1.19 acres and cost $560,000. The one that was $322 was on 1.17 acres and cost $1.4 million. So the first house was almost 2/3 the less cost, or cost almost 2/3 less than the second house. And you could take that first house and put 100 or 150 into it, and you're way ahead of the game. Now, if you were looking at homes in the same neighborhood, um, you can take a look here. I've taken 4 homes, and 3 of them were in the same neighborhood, and 1 was close by. Now, the foundation sizes are 1663, all identical. Finished square foot, 2892, all identical. Lot size identical. Price is $296 to $313. But now you look at this one, bigger foundation, bigger square footage, same lot, but look at the price. The price is less. So when you look at it from from this perspective, you can see, which house is the better value. Thanks for sticking with me if you made it this far. I'm going to give you a little bonus info to help protect your home's title and equity. Whether you already own a home or you're buying a home, you need to monitor your home title for theft. And what that means is someone forges a document and records it with the county recorder's office, and then they're on your title. They take out a bunch of loans that they never pay back, and then one day you get a foreclosure notice. So I learned about this theft that's happening in a continuing ed class. So I went home that day and signed up for a program called Property Watch, and then a couple weeks later, I got a notice on my title. Someone had filed a document, and so I was like freaked out, like what the heck is going on? So I read it, a little closer, and it said that there was a satisfaction of mortgage, and that was a little baffling because when someone's stealing from you, it goes the other way. They take money, they don't pay off your loans. And so, but I still, was worried because I didn't know what was going on with my title. And the next day I went into the recorder's office, and it turned out it was an old home equity line of credit that I had gotten 10 years earlier, and I had never used it. And the bank closed that account, and then that created the satisfaction of mortgage. And so they had sent me a letter a couple months before that, and I had forgotten about it. But the moral of the story is the system works. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. Go to your county that you live in, go to the county website, and I pulled up Ramsey County to give you an example here. This is the first page, and then I went to residence, property and home. You click there. Then the next page, there's records. You go to the recorder's office and then click there. And then finally, the next page is the property watch right here. And then you click there and then fill out the information. And that's how you set up a property watch for your property. Next time, part 2 will be about how much you should spend on a house, the 2 types of pre in letters, credit scores, and the types of loans available to you. You may be surprised, but there are some programs with 0 down payment. If you like the video, you know what to do. And if you would like some help with real estate, buying or selling, get in touch, and I'd love to help. If you're interested in homes in Lake Elmo, Minnesota, watch this video next.